Welcome to Inside the Firm, a podcast dedicated to small business owners and hosted by entrepreneurs, Alex Gore and Lance Cayko. Each week, they take you on their journey of how to start, run, and grow a business by bringing you inside their architecture and real estate development firm. Get a behind-the-scenes tour of how these business leaders manage their clients and foster company culture while creating new and innovative projects. And now your hosts, Alex Gore and Lance Cayko.
Hello, everyone. It's been a long time. I'm here with our host, Lance Cayko.
Wow, the actual host.
Yep. I am just your passerby, Al Gore. Just
sees a microphone, has got to put it in his mouth.
Barged in, taking over the podcast, letting you know of deals. The first one is, if you're going to purchase a deal, you can save up to 50% all month long. That's crazy. This month ends 8/30, Dell Small Business Month.
50%.
Yeah. So
amazing.
To access your exclusive Inside the Firm savings, visit Dell.com/Inside the Firm to receive your coupon, or call 800. Are we not doing the one anymore?
You can just do 800.
That's crazy. 800.
Yep.
757-8442. You would speak with the small business tech advisors, mention Inside the Firm listener, and you get huge savings. Small Business Month. Buy a Dell now.
Make it happen. Make that happen. Al, it could be a while before we're attending trade shows again. I actually think it will be a while. I don't think anything's going to happen until maybe next summer. They're canceling everything still. It's crazy. So what is your plan to stay up to date with new products? Well, let me tell you, you don't even have to go to a trade show for that. Matter of fact, ArtCat works with leading manufacturers to showcase their products and host their technical data, see what's new from your favorite manufacturers, or find a product you didn't know you needed. We even work with manufacturers to list their latest continuing education courses so you can get those credits while you stay at home. Best of all, everything that we've mentioned is free. F-R-E-E. ArtCat doesn't charge nor require registration for anything, which I love, that we've mentioned. Use ArtCat, that's ARCAT.com, to keep up with the latest and greatest architectural products today.
Okay, cool. I got something new for you. Haven't even told you about. You don't even know about.
I like surprises.
Okay. So the world has been, it's 2020, so the world has obviously been crazy.
Crazy.
Right? Not only the coronavirus, right? But we've all seen the ramifications of the George Floyd death, right? The Black Lives Matter protests, the riots, the reforms, and a lot of people don't know what to do or how they can help, right? Or what even they should be doing. And I've been thinking about this for a while. You know, I have a family and kids, so I'm not going out there and protesting or anything like that. And I don't even speak about policy too much because it's not my area of expertise. And I don't, even though I have a podcast where we have a podcast where we talk about a lot of stuff, I don't talk about a lot of stuff outside my area that I do things for, right? So we're choosing to help out where we have knowledge. And a lot of listeners also have the same knowledge, which is in design, architecture, and Revit. And this is what I want to extend to all of our listeners about how they can help out. We're basically looking for sponsors, right? So many poorly funded schools, they don't have the resources that they need. This is part of that disparity talk that's going on, that you don't have the same resources or the same opportunities.
Yeah.
But what can we do, right, to help students succeed in their profession? First, and what I'm talking about is architecture and specifically Revit. It's hard to start from a blank slate. So by providing a professional Revit template to a high school CAD class, instantly gives them a leg up. Secondly, if you provide hundreds of specifically made Revit families that are not only lightweight, ready to plug in, render ready, it can increase what they can produce, right? And how long it takes. They don't have to spend all these hours searching online, and it improves the quality of their design. A lot of people know you're hired on your portfolio, your rendering. And then lastly, we can provide on-demand training to how to use these resources, how to design a project like it gets built, and how to start their own project. And all this knowledge reduces roadblocks. So here's what you as a listener can do if this is up your alley. If you purchase the Revit Rocket Ship course, which is everything that I just described there, and we're actually throwing in all these Revit families, we will donate that same resource to a high school of your choice. A high school class of your choice will get the same thing, up to 100 students. So they'll get the professional template, they'll get the families, plus that whole list of tutorials where it's broken into 5 minutes chunks so they can find answers quicker. You might be thinking, is this too much for high school? Well, we've already done this. And Eddie Mull, he's a teacher in North Carolina. This is what he let us know. This is a quote. "Your template worked out really great. Our Drafting 2 class used it. And I am sure we would not have the results if we not had the advantage of your template. Because of your generosity to let us share this with students, it allowed us to achieve some incredible Revit work." Autodesk said that they were at a professional level already, and the NC North Carolina Department of Education thought it was the instructor's work until they saw most of the class had produced the same extraordinary models and renderings.
Amazing.
So to take advantage of this, go to RevitRocketship.com, enroll in the course. You'll see add the coupon code, when you go to checkout. Type in B, capital B, the number 2, and then S. So it's back to school, B2S. This way we know that you are part of this, that you want to donate to the local school of your choice that will get all of this. So not only will you get the resources that even if you just increase 2% your Revit skills, it's going to pay off. You've now given that to up to 100 students for one high school. So go to RevitRocketship.com, enter B2S, capital B, the number 2S. And that's one way you can get resources to the community that you want to help so that they can get a leg up. And I honestly believe that it will help.
Hey, well, that teacher just said it did. And then Autodesk actually gave us some feedback on that, which is incredible.
Yeah. And their department just thought they were showing them instructors' work.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, no, that's the students.
I love that.
That's the kids.
I love that. Speaking of Autodesk, there is an open letter that was recently written, and it was in AEC magazine, and the open letter is to Andrew Agnost, President and CEO of Autodesk, and the subject is an open letter that reflects customer perspectives on Autodesk in 2020. Everybody who listens to this podcast already knows we are big fans of Autodesk. We are huge fans of Revit, clearly.
Did anyone mention RevitRocketship.com?
Yeah, exactly. And so we wanted to read this letter and then break it down from our perspective, because it's been pretty contentious among architects and design professionals that use Autodesk software, right? So here goes. Industry context. The RIBA, Royal Institute of British Architects, Chartered Practice Benchmarking Report highlights the increasing cost of ownership of design-based software as part of the overall growth in costs that the design industry is facing. Even before the COVID-19 pandemic, costs were under significant scrutiny, and the value added by software vendors is now being questioned as never before. It is in this context that a number of practices who represent a revenue stream for Autodesk of over $22 million in the last 5 years, and thousands of users have come together to express their concerns in a survey which was carried out in June 2020. Their concerns relate to the increasing cost of ownership and the operation of Autodesk's Revit software, and fundamentally its lack of development. In the period between 2015 and 2019, most practices who participated in the survey have had at least 5 different license models in play, moving from individual product license to suites through to collections, and now in 2020 to individual user license. Overall, those surveyed have seen costs increase up to 70% and beyond to the end of 2019. Practices would be less worried by the cost increases if they were mirrored by productivity improvements and progressive software development program. Where once Autodesk Revit was the industry enabler to smarter working, it increasingly finds itself in a constraint and bottleneck. Practices find that they are paying more but using Revit less because of its constraints.
Okay, so the next is going to go into kind of what they think the issues are. And the reason that we are reading this is we talked to a bunch of different people at different universities, And we obviously talk about Revit because that's what we do. And we got an email back citing this letter, basically just saying Revit's terrible. And like, that's the end of the discussion. So this is a recent letter. So this is why we want to address it, is because I guess we'll go into the points, but I don't know. I think I have a pretty hardline opinion of this.
Clearly.
But it's not a, I'll tell you why when you go through.
Yeah.
So do you want to start with like number 2?
Yeah. So like Alex said, then it goes into sort of this Q&A. So question number 2, most practices think that the platform is not meeting current industry requirements.
Number 3,
Autodesk has tabled a variety of initiatives for the next generation of tools to replace Revit, but failed to prioritize investment and failed to communicate the roadmap for delivery of viable platform to users. Question 8, cost increases on existing software portfolios continue, but little value is added to create improved productivity in the core product for design practices in the industry. Project design outcomes thrive on ever-increasing collaboration between different design disciplines, requiring many forms of data interoperability between software platforms, as well as compliance to international data standards.
Pause right there. The interoperability.
Yeah.
That's one. Autodesk is probably the best at that, because if you work with their 360 and some of the other things, that's kind of the benefit of Autodesk, is that, I mean, they're trying, not everything can be, but like they can be passed back and forth. It's kind of what Adobe is doing with their suite of things.
Yep, their creative suite.
Yep. Okay, you can keep going. There's other. I don't know if you want to keep reading that or go to number 9.
Let's go to number 9. So basically, number 8, it keeps going on with this, basically with that kind of thought process. So number 9, cloud services must be an area of potential future expansion for design businesses, as well as for Autodesk as a provider. However, trust, empathy, and respect need to be at the core of any such future business relationship. The protection of intellectual property will be at the center of the debate for cloud-based common data environments. Users want to know what any data that resides in the Autodesk cloud is going to be used for beyond individual project collaboration. Further, the robustness and performance of the Autodesk cloud platform remains as a cause for concern. You know what that reminds me of is this idea of intellectual property, and that they're collecting all this data on us. Like, it's just like everything, right? Twitter, Facebook,
Matterport.
Instagram, Matterport. Yeah, exactly. Matterport from Google and all of that.
No, Matterport is the 3D scanner.
Oh, sorry, Matterport from the 3D scanner. But what I'm getting at is like, so I actually have a little bit of empathy on that part. That's actually a decent point in my opinion, because it would be nice to have some transparency about it, right?
Right.
Of how that data is being used. So, that was maybe one of the only ones that I thought was decent.
Right.
As far as our critique goes.
And if everyone knows if there's a response to this, that would be great. Number 5, it should be noted that most organizations record a positive relationship with the technical and product support teams in Autodesk. Oh, I guess that was then saying that, but some of them didn't want to add their name to the list because they didn't want Autodesk to be mad at them.
Yeah.
That's what they were saying. So this is this letter is totally fine. I think some people are getting bent out of shape. And here's what I mean. Meet a fan of Apple that doesn't have a critique of Apple.
Yeah.
Meet a fan of Facebook. You know what? Facebook it seems like everyone hates Facebook these days, or Twitter. It seems like everyone hates, they're dumbing down our conversations, all this, yet you're still all on.
We're all using it. We're all addicted.
And the point is,
it's still actually, all of those platforms still do what they're supposed to do. Like, there's no better way to connect with people, especially now. And like Facebook literally has saved a lot of small businesses because of their small. That's why their stock is accelerating like it is because they provided this Facebook marketplace, and people took their stores from brick and mortar to online, and a large part of the economy was saved for it.
Right.
So, like, I get the gripe of griping about these large corporations, but at the same time, like, if you're not recognizing the benefits, I mean, I just think, like, you can't have your cake and eat it too.
But why I like this letter so much is because if all of these, let's just say all of these are true, Autodesk, you came together as users and said what you wanted. And if Autodesk / Revit / these other programs don't listen, it opens the door to competition. So there was a lot of people clamoring for an electric car back in the 90s, in the 2000s, and then now. And they would, GM and them would give them okay / shitty electric cars. And then Tesla came and said, oh, do you want a really, really good one? Like, yeah, that's what we've been saying. Mm-hmm. Now guess where their market is at. So if Autodesk, if this is true, and if a lot of people feel this way, and Autodesk doesn't listen, it just means that the next Revit is going to be from someone else.
Exactly.
That's what that means. And it's good to have this open dialogue and to talk about it. So I feel like this is very, very normal. I don't feel like this is how it was presented us. That here's the problem with Revit. Why would you use Revit? This, like, what are you talking about? You're telling me something's not perfect? Like, we were having this discussion about something else. Like, you and Lance telling me, hey, Al, I want to really let you know that I'm not perfect, and sometimes I lose my temper. Like, have I not known you for 10 years? Like, thank you for that info. What am I supposed to do with this awkward info?
So I'd be like Al telling me he can't spell. You'd be like, oh, Mr.
Wow.
Gore.
I never considered that. I never.
And whenever I look over your emails before we send them, they're important emails. I'm doing spell checks, grammar checks.
Huh. Interesting. It was a perfect example.
Yeah, so I agree. I think it was blown out of proportion. I think it's unfair if people are reaching out to you and you're sending this back to them and just saying Revit dumb, discussion over.
Yep.
Boy, what a short-sighted view of the whole thing. And it is the right First Amendment of everybody who's using this, any kind of software or anything regarding a corporation or product or whatever. Like, why? Yeah, go ahead. Collectively get together and vet your problems to them.
Yep. And also, I don't think people know how hard it is to actually make these decisions, that whole roadmap, to make the decisions about what's going to be included, what's not going to be included, what we're going to put our R&D into, what we're not, and how we're going to release it. Because here's one very, very small example, right? I have this app that I've been telling Lance about. It's from Adobe. And normally, I hate Adobe because it takes up too much computer power and it's really, really slow, right? So, again, I'm one of these gripers. But on my phone, it's called Adobe Fill and Sign. And you click on it, you can import a PDF, and it has two little buttons. One is where I can do my signature, and the other one is where I can put in my information. That's all it has. All it has. So I want this Adobe Fill and Sign to do, because I'm a user. So they should obviously listen to me and do everything I say. And for me not to know the whole concept of how actually things work and how to put things together. I go, okay, that's great that I have a sign button. But I also want just a text button, because sometimes it's sign and date.
Yeah.
Right? And then I was sitting there thinking about this, not in the relationship to Revit. And I go, okay, yeah, but once I get that, like where I can put in the text, I want the comment button, because sometimes I get stuff and I just want to comment.
Now you want to do a comment.
Yeah.
Getting greedy.
Also, sometimes a contract's sent and there's only one typo. And I could easily edit it if they just had an edit button. So now in 5 minutes, I just added 4 buttons to this free app. Think where that goes. Think about managing that, right? And think about that in the context of one of the most successful companies that people still hate, and that's Apple, which really tries to reduce and pare their products down. So all I'm saying is that they probably realize, I don't know if you realize how difficult it is. I don't know if you're a BIM manager, if you realize how difficult it is to run a company that's making multiple products and have them all interrelate and work and do get user feedback and improve it. Obviously they can improve because every company is based on improving. But that's my opinion of the letter.
Yeah, I'm with you. Look, and then if I just had to boil it down to a pure pragmatic assessment of it, My complaints haven't been so much about the cost. Like, sure, we want things cheaper, but
Yeah.
I
sign that for 'em.
I wouldn't, as I would say, critiques is it's just simple stuff. Just simple stuff that would be nice to be implemented. But like one of the big ones recently was so now they enabled a spell check all throughout, or like you could put the text box around the text. Like if I boil it down, I don't know, man. That piece of software, Revit, has just leapfrogged us time and time again, especially now as contractors. And the ability for us to go in and model things and test them ahead of time. I don't know. I don't think it's worth complaining. I mean, the cost, the benefit's still always the cost.
Yeah,
all day long.
And
that's just me.
We're not blameless in this. Like, we've had hundreds of suggestions that we think should be implemented, but it's easier to be a complainer than a builder. It is much easier, and for some reason, it is way more gratifying to sit there and complain and do this feedback loop. It also makes you look like an expert because you spotted an error or an improvement, right? So it feeds your ego.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm saying this not because I know you, the listeners, or the writers. It's because I know myself.
He does. He can't spell.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, next thing I wanted to talk about with you, Al, we kind of already touched base on this a little bit, but is whether you should be a Pitbull or a Goldendoodle. And if you don't know what a Goldendoodle is, I feel sorry for you, anybody out listening. They are the best dogs ever.
Time out. You didn't have a Goldendoodle.
Yeah, and then it died.
That was a Goldendoodle?
Yeah.
Okay. Untrue statement. Goldendoodles are not the best dogs ever. Golden Retrievers are.
I bet he can't even spell retriever.
Time out. Time out. Did your dog ever learn not to bark at people it knows coming up?
No, it was a killer. It was ready to kill people.
No, that's what a Pitbull is. So that Goldendoodle was confused. Golden Retriever. Okay, to be a Pitbull or a Golden Retriever.
Yeah.
Continue.
So should you be what if you are an architect? What is the route you should take with your clients as it pertains to being a Pitbull or a Goldendoodle with the building department? So this is one that like I wrestle with, and Alex put it back in perspective with us. So some clients as of late have wanted to, and in the past too, it doesn't matter. They've wanted us to kind of act like attorneys, kind of like strong-armed attorneys with building officials, planners, and stuff like that, and thinking that like we have this magic wand. And maybe that's a failure on our part to, even though I try to explain it every time, is like, look, the build, and then I try not to get too political, and that is like, look, you got to understand. This is me talking to a client, a potential client, is like the planning department and the building department have a monopoly on the building process, meaning they have no competing entity. So you couldn't submit your set of drawings into the building official, and then at the same time submit them to a third party. Maybe you pay an extra fee and see who, and then you can decide on which judgment and how quickly the process goes or not, right? Because then there's this competition. But we don't have that competition. So does it really help you if you're submitting drawings, you're trying to get your building permit? Does it really help you then to go in there like a pit bull and be threatening, be condescending, just a general negative sense of malaise that you're laying over, the process with that building official, which, by the way, you then have to work with then maybe 2 or 3 months later, right, for another project. And I think that's the real perspective to give yourself and your firm, especially as you try to groom employees to work in the best possible way for you, your clients. You're always stuck in the middle of the building officials and the owners and clients. Is you're trying to appease them, and yes, there are times where you need to come out a little bit stronger, and argue a little bit about this or that and the other, and come to a compromise. But don't lose perspective of like, do you really want to burn the bridge on this one project when the developer you're working with, that might be the only time they develop in that town, right? And then the trade-off is like, well, I might work with that developer in another town too, right? So you're weighing like
Right.
which way, and I don't think you can actually pick a side. I actually think you have to be in the middle.
Well, it depends on the circumstance too, because the best approach is that you try to preempt the building department by meeting with them early and often, really solving their problems for them, finding information, doing all that. But then there gets a point where the building department will consistently say erroneous stuff, and I'm serious, like just tell you to do things backwards and forwards and all kind of crazy stuff, or things that don't even matter, and then you have to come out. And I found actually the best approach, depending on the developer and how much they do it, is that it comes better from the developer first.
Yes.
And then you back them. Then you back up your developer, and then say in your client and be like, yeah, absolutely, this is what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
Because we're having one of those fights with the city of Denver, and I honestly think that they're subtly trying to kill the project because how they can they're just willfully misinterpreting intentions, like trash, where the trash could go. Oh, we say it's here, and then they go, well, okay, then why is it not over there? It's like, I don't know, because we said it was here, because this is how it would work. And then they say, don't put it here, put it there. So then we put it there, and then they say, like, well, then how are you going to get it over there? We're like, what are you talking about? What are you literally talking about? How are we going to get to a place that we had no intent of it getting to? Why are you assuming that it's going to a place that there's no intent for it to go? You just made that up.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And I think
and you're holding up the project for this.
No doubt. And the final thing I would say, the perspective on to be a Pitbull or a Goldendoodle is, we've said it before, we get referrals from cities, believe it or not, where somebody will come in, a landowner, and they'll have a little sketch, and then the building department or the planning department will say, oh, well, have you ever done this? And they'll say, no. Well, how does it work? And they're like, oh, well, here's somebody who's done it quite a bit. It's working for us. So it's hard. That's why I say it's a balance. You can't just you can't go all the way to the right or the left or the top or the bottom. It's got to be you're right. You're positioned right in the middle, and that's where you got to be, because you don't want to burn these bridges. I mean, you really want to have a good working relationship. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. Set yourself up for that.
Cool.
Next thing that we talked about the other day, Al, but I would like to bring up again is, I think I'm to the point that we are done hiring our sub-consultants.
I've been there for a while. Welcome to the good side.
Yeah. The reason why I like to so I'll give you a quick example. The quick example would be just on a little tenant finish. I used to just put a fee down for our mechanical, electrical, plumbing engineer, and I'm not doing that anymore, because then I get caught in then I don't like being in the middle of, oh, we hired that consultant, and it doesn't matter which one the consultant it is, just some other consultant, right? And they're why is this consultant prescribing something that is going to cost me way too much money? I assume again that they are overdoing it, while at the same time, if you've worked with that sub-consultant before, maybe you've even sat down like I have and watched them run calculations and design stuff with you in real time, and you go, oh wow, yeah, you aren't really over designing it, you aren't overdoing it. But you can take all that stress off of yourself if you it's an architect only contract. So that was one of my lessons of the week for sure.
I think this is speculation, because a lot of architects, that's kind of included, and managing that, it's this play. Managing that is worth something, so then your fee's higher, but you're managing that. But a lot of times, you might not. Do you want to spend your time managing that, or do you want to spend your time on the architecture and all that? So.
And the reason, just to let everybody know why I was including it, is because then I like it. I like doing it because it says we're one and done. It's like, that's it. You came to us. We got everything you needed taken care of.
Easier to get the project.
Yeah, but now I'm like, now the last 2 tenant improvement projects that I've landed, I just did architecture. And that was even before learning the lesson.
Yeah.
And didn't even include them.
Who did the MEP? The owner found?
We're just doing the recommendation. We're just saying, here's who we recommend. We'll reach out to them if there's something else you want to see. If there's somebody else you want to see as a consultant, it'll work. Yeah. So I don't know. I'm shifting. Yeah. I think it's going to work just fine.
Awesome. Want to hear about my great idea?
And that's all he's got is good ideas.
Yeah. So Sunday I put together my 2-week boot camp for myself, right?
Physical?
So it was when I was going to go to bed, even like, okay, start your shower at this time so that you can get to bed at this time, so that you can wake up at this time, so that you can go downstairs, throw some water on your face, do some push-ups, do some sit-ups, do some pull-ups, do some other things, come to work, get this done, go to the jiu-jitsu plus their randori, which is like the actual sparring afterwards. You know, take a cold shower this day, do running this day, all that thing just planned out for 2 weeks. Guess how long that lasted?
1 day.
Not even the first night.
What a guy.
So the night on Sunday night, I was supposed to go to bed at a certain time to wake up. But then we had these family problems, not in my immediate family, but extended kind of family. Had to deal with that. Then woke up on time, did all this stuff. First day, got it done. Then the baby decided that, hey, he wasn't going to go to bed till midnight no matter what, and he was going to scream at you. To let you know. And then it kind of spiraled from there. He had one good night, then another like terrible night. The night before, from 11 to 2, he was up. Last night wasn't too bad. He just woke up at 3. Actually, he was really bad. My wife was taking care of it. And then at 3 o'clock, I took over and kept telling him to go to bed. And then he would listen, but he just decided to sing to himself for the next 30 minutes. So I'm like, okay, this is happening at 3 in the morning. So know that not everything works out perfectly. These people who say they have these routines.
That's fake news.
Fake news.
I mean,
I'll try again. Next week. Maybe it'll work. But some of you I know have kids or are a single mom or a single dad. I understand. Shit goes awry sometimes, literally, with kids. Yeah. So don't worry about it.
Yeah, I think when I really appreciate when people share that kind of perspective, because then I don't know why we have this idea of like people we listen to, people we watch are just infallible. They're not. And so seeing that kind of just vulnerability then you're like, oh, see, I can do it too. Like, yeah, no worries. I'll start it next week, Monday.
We'll see how it goes.
Yeah. Let's see how Nick goes.
Let's do it.
Hello, best friends. I hope you all had a great week this week. A reading. The Code. Without an objective, the objective will not be reached. Without a goal, the goal will not be achieved. Without a standard, the standard will not be met. Without a mission, the mission cannot be accomplished. Without an ideal, the ideal will never be realized. Without a clear path, the path cannot be followed. Yet, we, as human beings, often go through life without any of these. And so, we wander. We wander aimlessly, moving without making any progress. Days, months, and years pass us by. Time is wasted, which means life is wasted. And potential is wasted. Our own potential squandered. Meandering through life instead of becoming who we could be. Instead of attaining our highest possible manifestation of being, we simply become whatever we become. We fall short. In so many ways, we fall short. But this not need be our fate. We can prevail over mediocrity. We do that by chasing the ideal, our ideal. An ideal that we must define. An ideal that we must codify in no uncertain terms so we know what we are striving for. We must have a code to follow. Jocko. Tune in next week for more of The Code.
Have you read that? Is that a different book?
I think The Code is part of one of his books that I have, the Field Manual, Jocko Field Manual.
Yeah.
So, which this reminds me of, I got to get back on my boot camp next week.
Yeah.
Try again, have an aim, have a code, see what happens. Somehow I have to factor in kids rustling through the night.
How's the oldest one? The oldest one 1?
Oh, he's fine. He's fine. It got so bad one night. Everyone woke up. We all went into Atlas's room, which is the older one. He's 4. He's almost 4. He'll be 4 in October. And then we were just talking, hanging out, and my wife was like, Atlas, how about we just sleep in your bed tonight? And he's like, yeah, that's great. He goes, I'll sing to you. and I go, this sounds awesome. I'm going on the couch because I have to wake up tomorrow morning. I'll see all you fools later. I left and went to the couch.
Good luck, sir.
Yeah.
Good luck with that.
Good luck to all of you in your adventures. And if you need help with your adventures, with your goals, there's a couple ways you can do it. You can go to Dell.com/inside the firm. You can go to ArtCat. If you want to not only help your own adventure, but help people on their adventure, go to RevitRocketship.com. Click on the enroll in course, and then use the coupon code B2B to give a local school of your choice the opportunities and the resources that they need to succeed.
And if you want to help us, and if you haven't done it yet, why don't you go to your iTunes app and leave us a 5-star review on the iTunes app. We would appreciate it. We'll see you next week.